Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In the past 2 weeks, I've been traveling a lot. I have also been doing a lot of work, and I started falling behind on my channel. As you've noticed, I haven't posted a video in 2 weeks, and I've also been struggling to keep up with all of your wonderful comments and questions on both YouTube and on my Instagram. And as I was really late last night at like 2 a.m. I was trying to catch up on some questions from you guys on Instagram and then on YouTube. I realized that it would be faster for me to do a video rather than trying and type all the answers to your questions. So I thought I'd do a quick Q&A, and let's jump into it. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce any of your guys' names. Also, all the people that I included questions in, I've messaged you on either YouTube or Instagram. So if you're watching this video, give me a thumbs up or comment below. So first question is from Mishael Raoul. He's saying he's a geology student and is asking, can he pursue master's degree in petroleum engineering? So the short answer is yes, you can. I'm a petroleum geologist myself, and I have couple friends that finished university as geologists, and they went on doing their masters in petroleum engineering. Now there's two things to consider. First of all, engineering degree is hard. Okay, so I took a couple engineering courses as a requirement in my degree, and they were very math heavy, very intense courses. Now if you are a person that's naturally good at math, that might be no problem to you. However, I personally am quite challenged when it comes to math, so to me they seemed really hard. I still got good grades in them, but it took a lot of effort. So just keep that in mind. The second thing to keep in mind is depends on university. Some universities will allow you to do that, others won't. My university did allow that, and going into masters in engineering, you had two options. You could do it either thesis-based masters or class-based masters. Thesis masters, you would have to do a research and then write a big paper on it, and you had to find a professor that would supervise you, a supervisor. And so if a professor is willing to take a chance on you, you being a geologist trying to do a master's in engineering, if you find a professor that's willing to give you a chance, then by all means go for it. If you're doing a class-based masters, essentially it's more classes. You have to take more classes for 2 years, and then you'll get masters in engineering. Again, just be mindful that it might be quite hard transition from geology degree into going into engineering, but it's possible. So yes, it is, and just do your research when you begin a program. Make sure it's a good fit for you. So the next question is from Vasant Kumar. He's asking, how much percentage did you score in tens? I'm assuming he's referring to a grade 10, and what was my grades. Now, because I went to school in Russia, the grading system was different in Russia back when I was there. So our grading system was from 1 to 5. There was no percentage. It was just 1 being the worst grade and 5 being the best. If you're interested, I have a video about Russian school. I'll link that below. So in my grade 10, I had 31 subjects that we were required to take, 31 different classes. And in all of the classes, I had a 5. So the highest grade you could get, except in geometry. So we had algebra and geometry. Those were two separate classes, and in algebra I had a 5, and in geometry I had a 4, just because geometry was tough. Like I could never get the concepts quite correct. And so when I came to Canada and got my diploma translated into like a North American system, all of my 5s were translated as 95%, and my grade 4 for geometry was translated as I believe like 75%. So overall my average was really high. Now I was quite surprised because like 5 is the highest mark you can get in Russia, so I was like, well, why don't you translated as 100%? And I was told that in a North American system, it's almost impossible to get 100% in every single subject, like exactly 100%. So they always round it down and put you 95%. But it still gave me a really high percentile. So every university I applied pretty much accepted me. So that wasn't a big issue at all. So next question is from Purple Snow Owl. I absolutely this is like the best name ever. So he or she is asking how petroleum geologists find oil, or even how the life can be as a geologist in general. Now, I made a video a while back about geology degree, and I got like a really positive response from that video. I was really surprised how many people are actually interested in it, and a lot of people did ask the same question. So like Michael asked, like, do the video about how to find oil and gas, and I've got a lot of questions about it. So what I decided to do is next week, I'm working on that video actually now already, is I'm making a video specifically on how geologists find oil and gas. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button, click that bell so you don't miss it, because I'm gonna make like a 10-minute video going into detail how geologists actually find oil and gas. Now, the second part of that question is how the life can be as a geologist in general. In general, it can be great, depending on what field you are in. Me being as a petroleum geologist, there's a lot of ups and downs, and those ups and downs correlate with oil and gas prices. When the economy is booming, the oil and gas prices are high, life is great because companies are hiring you, you have a lot of work. When economy is in downturn, gas prices collapse, then it's very scary time because there's a lot of layoffs going on, a lot of geologists are not needed anymore. And in my 8 years of my career, I've seen 3 or 4 of those ups and downs. But basically, as a geologist, it's fantastic. It's a good career. You just have to be mindful what stream you're going into. And I will maybe make a series of like geology videos because people seems like very interested in geology, which is like warms my heart. It's very cool. So next couple questions came from Instagram and not YouTube. So Ranaf Arhan from Instagram is asking, I'm a fresh graduate student of geology. Now I am confused. What should I do? Okay, so that's, I think, the reason I picked this question is because this is a very important topic. It's not just for geology students. I find in general, as you graduate university, it's very scary time because here you are a student, you kind of were expected to study, you're still like really young, and your job was to study essentially. Once you graduate, you realize like, oh shoots, now I have to go and find actual like a real job and make money and figure this whole like life situation. And so particularly for geology, if you graduated with a geology degree, first thing is start applying to companies that hire geologists. Google geology jobs in your area, whatever city, town you're from, and see what's out there. Apply internationally as well. It never hurts. I mean, you might never hear from them again, but like, what are you losing? Nothing, right? So take a chance. If you having absolutely no luck of landing your first job as a geologist, but you set on being a geologist, you want to be in that field, you're interested in it, see if you can go back to university and do a master's degree. A lot of companies prefer if you have master's degree, so see if that's an option for you. A lot of the times when you're doing masters, you will get a grant and get paid to do research, so that's a good way to weather out a downturn if you can't land a job. Next one is Bruce Moon, also from Instagram. He's asking how I can study effectively and how can I get at least a 3.8 GPA, and GPA is a grade point average. So first portion is how can you study effectively? So for me, the number one thing for effective studying is organization and your mindset. So you have to be organized and you have to dedicate time for studying. As soon as you stop dedicating time for studying, you just lose it all. It has to be in your mindset that, okay, I'm studying, this is my goal to get there, this is my goal to get good grades, and this is the time I'm dedicating to studying. Soon as you have that mindset, everything falls into pieces. So organization is key. And if you're specifically wondering how you can get like a 3.8 or higher GPA, a couple of years ago I made a video specifically on that. I made a video on how I got 4.0 GPA. I will also link it below, so check it out. I go into detail about my tips and tricks and my mindset at the time, how I got a 4.0 GPA. Next question is from Jazim, also from Instagram. He wants to know about master's degree in Canada and is asking for help. Now, what I'm gonna say next is by no means an advice. I'm not a educational counselor or anything. It's just from my experience. I'm just sharing my experience. So do your research as well. But if you're considering a master's degree in general in North America, it's very similar. There are different types of master's degree, like I said, course-based or thesis-based. Thesis-based is more common, is when you're doing research and then you write a big paper, at the end of it, defend it, and you get your master's. Typically, masters in Canada take 2 years to complete. I believe the university gives you up to 4 years to complete them, but majority of students, if you're doing it full-time, will finish in 2. And the first step to get your master's in Canada, you have to find a university and a professor that would accept you. So if you're looking for university, a good start point is to see what province you want to be in Canada. So do your research, Google it, read other students' feedback. And so if I were pursuing masters in Canada, I would go to the website of those universities, click on prospective students. There's prospective students, there's undergraduate and graduate. You're interested in graduate studies, so click on that and see what are the admissions requirements, what are the deadlines. Next, you have to, once you figure out, okay, you fit all the admissions requirements, then you have to figure out who is going to be your supervisor for a thesis-based master's, and that is based really purely on you, what degree you have in. So for example, if you have a degree in biology and you would like to pursue, like say, human genetics, you would like to study human genetics and do a research in human genetics, then go into the biology faculty, see which professors accept new students, and once you find a professor that sort of does a research in that area, email that professor and say, I'm a student from such and such university, I have a degree in biology, and I would like to be one of your students. Are you accepting new students? Are you offering topics for research? Some professors have topics already, like that they want students to pursue. Others would ask a student to come up with a research topic. So if you have a research topic in mind, say for example, if you want to study different genetic gene mutations, variations in cystic fibrosis patients, for example, and then say that to a professor and say, this is what I'm thinking, this is my research proposal, would you take me as a student? And the next step is to figure out all the legal stuff like visas and stuff, which I'm not very familiar with because obviously I'm from Canada, so I didn't have to deal with visa stuff. Now, if you're still struggling with admission and you're not sure like how to approach it, and you can't find all the information on the website, on the university website, call the admission office. In my experience, every time I called the admission office, people were very nice. They walked me step by step what the requirements are, what do I need, and they were fantastic. Now, the last question is from Jasmine, also from Instagram. She's asking, in one of your videos, you mentioned that you run your own business. Did you go to school for it? And can you make a video about it? So now, 4 years ago, I did start my own business. I run a production company, and it's a whole new topic. And yes, I sort of went for school for it, but not really. So I was a freelance photographer for all my life, even when I was at university studying geology. And later on, when I was working full-time, I was also freelancing as a photographer. Later on, that hobby turned into a full-time work now and into my own company. And yes, I did go to school. Now, I am a strong believer in education. I don't think I would ever stop studying. So after I finished my geology degree, I went and did a continuing education certificate in videography. I did it like it was evening classes that was more of a hobby for me. I really enjoyed those classes. And later on, I opened my own production company. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, lately I've been doing a lot of work. I've been traveling, and I thought, why not make a channel out of it, a completely separate channel, because I want to dedicate this channel to studying and education, and the content about traveling just doesn't fit into this. So I made a completely separate channel. There's no content on it yet, but I will be posting my first video next week. So if you are interested in entrepreneurship, if you're interested in how to find clients, how to make money, how to work for yourself, go subscribe, click the notification bell so you know when that first video is gonna come out. So if you want, subscribe for that. That was my last question. If you want to ask me something, comment below, give me a like, and I will see you next week in my how to find oil and gas video. Bye.